This is Victoria's stunning Great Ocean Road, and nestled in the foothills of the Otways is the seaside town of Anglesea. Peter Shaw grew up in the nearby town of Geelong and lured his new bride Simone to the coast 20 years ago. They now run an award-winning landscape business and spend much of their spare time experimenting in their own garden. Hello, Ruby.
Hello.
Oh,
Put her into bed. Come on.
Hello, that's a nice welcome. Pete, how are you? Good to see you. Simone, hello. How are you? What a good dog and what a beautiful garden you've got. Now, was there much here when you first arrived?
Well, the trees were a massive impact on the block. They were beautiful, the stringy barks and just those lovely trunks all twisting up. So they were sort of the initial big attraction for us to preserve them and keep them because they're quite rare.
That's a feature that is quite amazing. You don't see mounds like that.
No, covered in grass. It's not a traditional lawn, is it?
You have to mow it?
We whippersnipper it, actually. The mower doesn't go over it.
I love it, though. It's got a nice, gentle sort of entranceway to your garden. Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah. Now, the garden is basically native, or what is it?
Yeah, mostly native, so Corealba, Coreoreflexes, lots of Lamandras, lots of Poas.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing really that super duper about the plants, but they're super tough.
Yeah, and they grow underneath these trees.
Yes, that's right.
I love the bark of the casuarinas. They're terrific.
Yeah, they are good, aren't they? And the iron barks have got a lovely aspect to them as well.
What was the philosophy behind the garden?
Well, it really just had to belong here in this Anglesea location, you know, on this ridge hill. All the gum trees are here. So it just had to feel like it was always here.
And do you think that's been successful?
Yes, I do. I think particularly using a lot of natives and silver plants, and it blends in quite well.
Tell me about the cubby houses.
So they started with the kids obviously climbing up the trees and spending many hours up there. So there's the zip line that goes down from one down towards the front door, which is obviously...
Do you want to have a turn?
Can I have a go? But there must have been some challenges, you know, because by the beach is lovely, but it's a very harsh environment.
Yeah, well, we say coastal gardening is really difficult, but actually gardening under gum trees is 10 times harder than gardening on the coast. So we've got all the lovely stringy bark trees, so getting things to grow with that really challenging environment. Super tough plants we've used and lots of them.
How do you deal with the sand? Because it's really sort of rough, coarse soil, isn't it?
And if it's not that, it's
the clay.
Clay, so compost. Yeah, not trying to bring too much soil in.
Yeah.
Building up what's there. Lots of mulching.
Now.
Here we've got this lovely little gathering spot under this beautiful tree that this time of the year is a water bowl, and the birds come and the dogs use the water bowl and we can sit around. And then when the weather gets a bit cooler, we drain that out and fill it up and put a fire pit in there. Sometimes I'll just light it on a weekend and suddenly one comes out and then another, and by 4 o'clock in the afternoon there's 6 of us sitting around here, which is quite nice if they're all home.
My favourite part is hanging around the fire pit with the family and friends and stuff.
And now this tree is a real feature, isn't it?
Oh, well, it's the centrepiece of the garden. When we first moved here, we climbed that tree to see what we could see out to the ocean, and now it's just become a magnet for the kids to climb. We don't have a lot of room for vegetables, but we've ended up with this little space, which is not enough to feed the family, but it's certainly enough to give us a bit of a start and get a bit of material growing, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a good idea, though, raising them up with the steel containers, aren't they? It's
Also
wonderful.
keeps the possums out too. So.
Yes, good old possums. And that bougainvillea really works, doesn't it?
Yeah, the Scarlet O'Hara, it struggled for the first few years, but in the last year it's just really popped with colour in the last few months, so be really happy with that.
And the idea being that it's the contrast, isn't it?
Yeah, so contrast between the greys and the greens and the silvers of the coastal plantings, and then all of a sudden, pop, there's the bougainvillea.
Bang. So now we're weaving our way down to the front door.
Yeah, so entry down through here, bit of a journey to get down to the house.
It's lovely, though. You've got clipped glow things.
So Westringia smoky, kept reasonably clipped, and this is a local one called Sea Box, Elixir. So it grows
Elixir.
naturally here on the cliffs, quite contrasting in the colours.
I love that. Yeah, that's really nice. And these beautiful gum trees, what are they?
So coolabah gums, Eucalyptus victrix. So Western Australian, very small tree. This is about as big as they'll get.
Yeah.
A little bit of understory pruning to give a bit of room for the shrubs. But yeah, they've got that lovely, like old ghost gums, but quite small.
Wow, this is a nice little area too.
So yeah, down where the
Ooh.
pistachio is, and
Yeah.
got the benefit of all the shade for summer, and then the winter light coming in,
And the autumn colour.
and the autumn colour.
People don't grow pistachios enough. I think they're a lovely tree.
Drought tolerant, and
Yeah. The Sea of Lamandra.
yeah, well, we needed something to tolerate the shade, the light, the tough conditions, the shallow soil. They just form a nice
Gentle
mellow
sway.
carpet. And
You can't underestimate that design and forward thinking and really planning beforehand, and then you have the benefit at the end rather than making it up as you go.
By using plenty of creative flair and, of course, working with the local coastal conditions, the soil, the weather, and using lots of plants, Peter and Simone have created a garden oasis that is worthy of any seaside sanctuary.
Without a garden, you just don't feel alive, and once you have a garden and stuff, you just feel a lot better.